So good evening to all of you students. Today I am going to explain about the array. So we have already seen the array in C language and we are familiar with the array, but here we will see array as the data structure, means we will see how it is important in the data structure. As we all know that most of the data structure can be implemented by using the array, so it is very important. So this video basically covers the basic definition of the array, why we need the array and its types. So let us see. First we will see how a variable is stored in the memory. So let us see. First of all we will see how a variable is stored in memory. So let us say let us consider a element 7. It is of integer type, so it will take 2 bytes, that is 16 bits of memory. This is for traditional compiler. So this is for traditional compiler. Now for advanced compiler it may be like 4 bytes, that is 32 bits of memory for advanced compilers. It will depend. So normally integer data type, it takes 2 bytes of memory. It may also take 4 bytes of memory, but it will depend on the compiler. So in traditional compiler, or normally we study in C language, it will take 2 bytes. Now we will see how it can be represented in memory, because this 7, this is a decimal number, so it can be converted as in binary. So this will be in binary, this will be 1 1 1, so it can be written as 0 0 0 and so on 1 1 1. So these are the 16 bits. 16 bits will be used to store the 7 because it is integer type. Now we will see in memory how it can be shown. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. This is a decimal number and this is binary. So now we can show like this is 1 1 1. These are the 16 bits, 0 0 0 0 0 0 0. This is 1 byte because it will take 2 bytes of memory. So this is 1 byte and this is another 1 byte. because it is taking 2 bytes of memory, that's why it can be shown in memory like this. So these are the 16 bits, this is 8 bit, 8 bit, and it can be stored like 1 1 1. Here we can keep 0. If it is taking 4 bytes, then we will take 4 byte here, like 1 byte, 1 byte, 1 byte, and 1 byte, like this. Now, and this address may be, because it is stored in the contiguous memory allocation, so the address may be like, suppose this is 100 and this will be 101, and so on. If it is taking 4 bytes of memory, and the address may be like 100, 101, 102, 103. Normally this address is shown in the hexadecimal, but for the convenience or for the simplicity, just for understanding, we are using here 100, 101, like this. Now we will see what are the different issues in this simple declaration. So if we want to store another number, like here we are using this 7, here we are using 7. Now we want to store another number, suppose int x equals to 8 or int x equals to 9, and so on. Then what will happen? We can say this is issue 1. So previous values are overridden by the new ones. Means we are already using this x equals to 7, and after that we are using int x equals to 8, then this 8 will overwrite 7, and again if we are using x equals to 9, then 9 will overwrite 8. So what we do, if we want to store 3 values, we can simply use array. So what may be the benefit? Like we can use, suppose this is case 1, we can write int x 3 equals to 7, 8, and 9. So this is the one benefit, or we can say one reason why we use the array. Now second reason, second is issue 2. If suppose to store 50 values, say marks of 50 students, to store 50 values, 50 variables, 50 variables are required if we are not using the array. But if we are using the array, then under using the array, but using array, one variable can be used to store 50 values. So we can use one variable to store 50 values. So this is the second reason. This was the first region, previous values are overridden, and this is the second region. So it can be like this. We can write int x 50 equals to, like suppose 1, 2, 3 and so on up to 50. So we can write in this way. Now we will see how we can define the array. So we will see the definition. So array is a collection of similar type of data items. It is a collection of similar type of data items, and these items are known as elements. They are known as by elements, and their location can be identified by index. Elements location is identified by index. So this is the basic definition of the array. Now we will see how we can declare. So we will see its declaration. So here we have already seen that how we can declare it. Now we will see the general syntax. So it will be like data type, then array name, and then size of the array. This is the data type, and this may be like integer, float, character, etc. And the name may be any name, like this may be a variable like a, b, x, etc. And this is the size may be like 5, 6, etc. So this is the simple declaration. This is the data type, then its name. The name may be a, b, x, etc. and this is the size. For example, int x 5. So this is the simple declaration. This is integer type. So here this is the type, it is its type. This is the name, and this is the size. Now how we can initialize? So this second part is initialization. Initialization. For this, the syntax may be its data type, then array name and its size, and then elements, like this may be element 1, 2, 3 and so on, like element n. For example, we can write int x and x5 equals to 16, 9, 75, 18, 5. So this is the initialization. We can also write it in this way. There are so many ways by which we can write. Here we are storing 5 elements. Here we are taking the syntax of C language, but this syntax may differ in language to language. So here normally we are using all these things using the C. So this is the second part, that is initialization. Now how we can access the element of a array. Accessing element. So we can say, like suppose this is any array x5, 16, 9, 75, 18, 5. As we all know, they are identified, all the elements have location and they are identified by the index. So this is 0th index, this is 1, this is 2, 3 and then 4. Because array starts from 0, array starts from 0. Now if you want to access the first element, its index is 0. So we can write x0, this will be 16. If you wish to access the second element, then x1 is 9, third x2 is 75 and so on. So in this way we can access the element of the array. Now we will see its types of the array. So normally there are 3 types of the array. First is one dimensional. This is also one dimensional array, because in this we are using the only one dimension, that is size. Then we can also take 2-dimensional array, that is also used for the mathematical matrix, and then 3-dimensional array or multi-dimensional array. So now let us see. Now we will see the types of array. So normally there are 2 types of array. First is single dimensional array and second is multi-dimensional array. So single dimensional arrays, this is also known as 1D array, and multi-dimensional array as like 2D array, 3D array, 4D array. It depends on the size of the array or the dimension of the array. So here now we will study the 3 arrays, 3 categories. First is 1D array, second is 2D array and 3D array. So let us see. So first category is single dimensional array. This is also known as 1D array or linear array. This is also called 1D array or linear array. This is the most commonly used array. Now we will see how it can be declared. So we have already seen this 1D array. Now let us recall it. So declaration is like int x 5, first is data type and the name of array and the size of the array. So it can store 5 elements. Then initialization it can be initialized like it may contain 5 elements. So we can initialize like 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. So we can store 5 elements and these are the indexes basically. We can say this is index 0, this is index 1, index 2, this is index 3, index 4, etc. So it can store 5 elements. So in this way we can initialize. If you want to enter the value from the keyboard, and the way is different, we can use different loops. But this is static declaration. We have initialization. We have initialized in the starting. And third one is accessing the element. Accessing elements. If you want to access the element of the array, then we need to know the index, because we can see like this is the array of 5 elements. So all the elements are identified by different indices, like this index 0, index 1, index 2, index 3, index 4, and array starts from 0. So if you wish to access this first element, then we can write x 0 equals to 1. So we can write elements can be identified by index. If we wish to access 3, then we can write int x 3. Now we will see the second category of array. This is 2-dimensional. Two-dimensional array. Two-dimensional array, this is the category of multi-dimensional array. We can say array of array containing 2 dimensions. Array of array containing 2 dimensions. That is row and columns called 2D array. So this is called 2D array. It can be used to implement mathematical matrices and small or large database tables. So this is widely used to implement the matrices and the database tables. This is called 2D array. So this is called 2D array. Now we will see how we can declare it. It can be declared like its declaration. So first we will take its type, that is data type, then name of the array, and then row size, and then column size. In this way we can declare. For example, we can take any example like int matrix A 4, number of rows are 4 and number of columns are 3. So it can store 12 elements. It can store 12 elements. Now we will see how we can initialize it. Initialization. For initialization we can write its syntax will be, its syntax can be written its data type and then array name, then row size, row size, row size, column size equals to curly braces, and then so within the curly braces we can keep the elements. So this will be the row 1. These are the elements of row 1 and these are the elements of row 2 and then row n. It will depend on the number of rows and columns. So this will be the first element. So we can say this will be R1 C1, this is R1 C2 and then R1 Cn, and then this is the element of, these are the elements of second row. So this is R2 C1, R2 C2 and so on, R2 Cn, and these are the elements of row n. So this will be Rn Cn, Rn C1, Rn C2, Rn Cn and so on. So we can say this is the initialization. Now we will see the example. For example, let us say at the right hand side we have taken the 12 elements, so 4 rows and 3 columns. So we can store 12 elements. So we will declare or we will initialize a 2D array of 4 by 3. So we can write int, this is matrix A 4 and 3 equals to, so we can write, so first row the elements are 1, 2 and 3 and second row elements are 4, 5 and 6, 4, 5 and 6, and in third row elements are 7, 8 and 9, 7, 8, 9. In fourth row elements are 10, 11 and 12. So in this way we can initialize a 2D array. So now how we can access these elements? So accessing elements can be accessed by using its index. So the simple way is, like, if suppose we wish to access 1 and 2, we wish to access these two elements. So its location is 0 0 and 0 1. So we can write matrix A 0 0 equals to 1. So this is 1, and if we wish to access 2, then we can write the code. This will be matrix A 0 1 equals to 2. So in this way we can access the various elements of the 2D array. Now we will see the third category of the array, that is 3-dimensional array or 3D array. 3D array. So an array of array containing 3 dimensions is called 3D array. This is the array of array containing 3 dimensions. 3 dimensions, that is, these dimensions are nothing but these are known as tables, rows and columns. Tables, rows and columns. For example, we can write int x 2 4 3. It means this 3D array will contain 2 tables, 4 rows and 3 columns. Now we will see its initialization, how we can initialize it. Initialization. So this is the initialization. We can rewrite it. So it can be written as like this is the simple initialization, but here we have to see that what each dimension says. So these are the tables and these are the rows and these are the columns. So it means if we are writing int x 2 4 3, it means it will contain 2 tables, 4 rows and 3 columns. It means we can say it can store 24 elements in all, because 2 4 is 8, 3 is 24. Now we will see how we can initialize. Sorry, this is the declaration. This was the declaration. This is declaration and this is initialization. To initialize, again we will use the same array. Suppose int x 2 4 3, so it can be initialized like, so it will contain 2 tables, so we can write in this way. Two tables, so it will contain the elements. This is table 1, this will be table 1. So the elements will be like 1 2 3, then 4 5 6, then 7 8 9, 10, 11, 12. So these are the elements of table 1. These are the elements of table 1. Now we will write the elements for table 2. So these will be bracket like this. This will be curly braces, so now 13, 14, 15, so and 16, 17, 18, then 19, 20, 21, then 22, 23, 24. So this is table 2. These are the elements of table 2. So in table 1, because these are the 4 rows and 3 columns, so this will be row 1, row 2, row 3. These are the elements of row 1, row 2, row 3, row 4. In the same way, this is also row 1, row 2, row 3 and row 4. And these are the columns. So this will be C1, C2, C3, C1, C2, C3, C1, C2, C3, C1, C2, C3. So in each table there will be 12 elements and total 24 elements in all in this 3-dimensional array. So total 24 elements. Now we will see how we can access these elements. Accessing elements. So the way is simple, the way is very simple. If we wish to access the first element like this 1, so we can write here x 0 0 0 equals to 1. So this will be the first element. If we wish to access this, then this will be 0 1 1 like this, or 0 0 0. So we can access in this way. We can access other elements too with the help of this. So now we have seen these 3 categories. Now we will see its advantage and disadvantage and its application. So let us see. Now we will see the advantages of the array. So we have seen so far that there are so many advantages, with the help of array we can implement other data structures like queue, stack, tree, graph. It is very simple. So let us see one by one. So first advantage is the array. It represents multiple data items of the same data type using one name. So if we wish to store the value of 50 items, or we can say if we want to store the marks of 50 students, then we need to declare 50 variables, but with the help of array we can store all the values, means 50 values under the one name. So this is the one benefit, that it can represent multiple data items of the same data type using one name. So this is the first benefit. Second is elements can be accessed randomly using the index number. So it provides random access. All the data items of the array can be randomly accessed. If we wish to access any element, if suppose our array is having 50 element and we wish to access the 41st element, then we can access it by identifying its index. So this is the second benefit. So it provides random access. Third benefit, array will allocate memory in contiguous memory allocations. means adjacent locations, contiguous memory locations for its data items, so that extra memory allocation can be avoided. If we are using this contiguous memory allocation, it means the extra memory can be avoided. So this is the third benefit of using the array. And we also see that this contiguous memory allocation, this is seen in operating system. There this contiguous memory allocations used so that the extra memory location can be avoided. Here we can see the example. This is any array, this is character array, and it can store 7 elements. So this is the 7 element character array. So here we can see these are the indices 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and these are the elements or the data items of character data type. We know character will it takes 1 byte of memory. So at the bottom we are seeing this, these are the addresses like 100, 101, 102, 103, 104, 105, 106. So this is the contiguous memory allocation, means adjacent locations. So this is the third benefit. Moreover, this contiguous memory location in array, it avoids memory overflow. This is also very important. It avoids memory overflow or shortage of memory. So this contiguous memory allocation, it avoids the memory overflow or shortage of memory. So this is the fourth one. And the fifth benefit is array can be used to implement other data structures. This is also very important. This is very important. We wish to implement stack, queue, tree or graph, or in simple words we can say if we want to make the program using C, C++ or any other language, then we can use array. Or we want to make the program for like stack, queue, tree, graph, etc. So we can simply use the array. So this is the fifth benefit of the using the array. And sixth is 2D array. As we know that this 2D array can be used to implement the mathematical matrices. If we wish to add 2 matrices, if we want to multiply 2 matrices, or we want to make the program for the sparse matrices, etc. So or any other matrices, we want to make the programs for any kind of matrix, then we can use this 2D array. So it can be used to implement mathematical matrices, like we can say for example addition, multiplication of matrices. Seventh benefit is 2D array can be used to implement small or large database, and we are familiar with the database, and database have tables, and all the tables can be implemented by using the array. So this is the seventh benefit. So these are the some main benefit. Now we will see some issues, some disadvantages. Definitely there are some issues in this array. So let us see what are those issues or what are those disadvantages. Now we will see some disadvantages of the array. So let us see one by one. Definitely there are some issues in array. So first is first disadvantage is whenever we want to make the program using the array, it means we need to declare the size in advance, or the size of the array must be known in advance. We must know the size of the array in advance. Like suppose if we want to declare an array for 10 elements, then we need to declare its size in starting. So this is the drawback. This is the first drawback of the array. Second is it is a part of static memory allocation. If we are declaring array, we are using the array, it means this is the static memory allocation. That is to say, size of the array once we have declared, once it is declared, it cannot be modified later. If suppose we have declared an array of 10 elements, then we cannot do 12 or we cannot do it 9. So it cannot be modified later. So this is the second drawback of the array. Third drawback is allocated memory can't be increased or decreased. As I have already said that it cannot be increased or decreased. If suppose this is int x 5, then we cannot make it 6 or we cannot make it 7 or we cannot make it 4, because this is an array of 5 elements. We cannot do 7 or we cannot do 3. So this is the third drawback, that allocated memory can't be increased or decreased. Fourth drawback is allocating more memory than the need. It leads to wastage of memory space. This is very important drawback of the array. That's why in most of the things, most of the application, it is not recommended. So allocating more memory than the need, it leads to wastage of memory space. That is to say, for example, implementation of sparse matrices and polynomial, this is the wastage of memory. So if we want to implement the polynomial or sparse matrix, then array is not recommended, rather linked list is recommended. Now let us see how it happens. We can understand this with the help of the example, means wastage of memory space. If we are implementing the polynomial and the sparse matrix using the array. So let us consider an example 1. This is p1x, this is any polynomial, and this is let 8x cube plus 3x square plus 2x plus 6. Now if we want to make the program using the array, then its index represent exponents. So we can say the index represents exponents. So here we have taken with the we are seeing with the help of the diagram. So these are the index like 0, 1, 2, 3, because the upper exponent in this polynomial is 3. That's why we will take here 3, or the upper exponent will be 3. It means we will declare an array of 4 elements. If you want to implement this polynomial, then we will take an array, we will take 1D array of 4 elements. So now how we can store, how we can show. So this is 0th index. So here this will be 6, then 2, because this is x to the power 0, this is x to the power 1, this is 2, then 3, and then 8. So this is the simple way of representing a polynomial using the array. So here we can say that all the locations are being used. But in the second example, this is second polynomial, p2x equals to 23x to the power 9 plus 6x minus 3. So here we can say this is upper exponent is 9, that's why this is upper index is 9. So we can say these are the indices which represents the exponents. Now we will put the values, we will put the coefficients here. So for this will be minus 3, then x to the power 0, this is minus 3, and this will be 6, and 4x square, because this is 0, x cube, this is also 0, its coefficient is also 0, x to the power 4, coefficient is also 0, then x to the power 5, this is also 0, and x to the power 6, this is also 0, then x to the power 7 is also 0, this is also 0, but x to the power 9, it is having a coefficient, this is 23. So here we can see only three values or 3 locations are used. 3 locations are being used, but these locations, this is wastage of space. This is wastage of space. So from here we can understand that it is clear, if we are implementing the polynomial using the array, there will be the wastage of space. That's why polynomial implementation using array is not recommended, rather it is implemented using the linked list. Now this is the third example. Here we have taken a sparse matrix with many zeros. So this is a 6 by 6 matrix. It means it can store 36 elements, 36 values. But here we can say, because this is a sparse matrix, that's why it will contain many zeros. So only few locations are being utilized. So you can see this is a matrix of 6 by 6. It means this will store 36 values, or it will require 36 memory locations. If we want to implement it, then we will require a 2D array. So now we can see the locations which are being utilized. This is 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8. So we can say only 8 locations are utilized. So in rest of the locations, that is 28 locations, 28 locations are wasted if we implement this sparse matrix using the array. So now we can ultimately say, that's why this is the drawback. So this sparse matrix implementation using array is also not recommended, and this sparse matrix implementation is done using the linked list. So these are some drawbacks. Now we will see some applications of the array. Now finally we will see some applications of the array. Though the benefits that we have already seen, they are also the applications of the array, but we will recall here, or we will see some different. So first of all, this is the first application of the array. This is CPU scheduling. CPU scheduling is very important task that we normally study in the operating system. So most of the things which are related with the CPU scheduling, or most of the algorithms that which are required for CPU scheduling, they are implemented using the array. So this is the first application. And second application, this is also the advantage of the array, means other data structures like stack, queue, tree, graph, and all the operations which are related with the like queue, like priority queue, like circular queue, it can be implemented by using the array, or we can easily understand the various programs of various data structures using the array. So this is the second application, that it can be, or other data structures can be implemented using the array. Third is, array stores data items of similar data type. So this is another benefit, because it avoids confusion. It avoids, we can say, it avoids confusion of the developers or programmers, because we can store the data items of the same type. So this is the third application. Now the fourth application is, it can be used to implement various sorting algorithms that we study in the data structures like bubble sort, quick sort, insertion sort, selection sort. So various sorting algorithms like bubble sort, selection sort, insertion sort, quick sort, etc. All the algorithms, all the sorting algorithms can be implemented by using the array in a very simple way, and we can understand the programming with the help of these sorting algorithms using the array. So this is the fourth application. And the fifth application, it can be used to implement various searching algorithms like binary search, linear search, etc. So all the searching algorithms can be easily implemented using the array. So this is the fifth application. And the last application, this is small or large database, they are also implemented using the array. So these are some applications of the array. Moreover, so many things, it can be used at various places. So this is all about this lecture. In this lecture we have seen, though it is very simple topic, but it is very important. So in this video lecture, we have seen the definition of the array, its importance, then how it can be represented in the memory, then its types of the array, then its advantages, its disadvantages, how it cannot be recommended in polynomial and the sparse matrices, then finally its application. And I hope that you would be definitely benefited from this lecture. Thank you.